Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. That's right, we are flying high above Alameda / Oakland, California. That's right, we are doing an update on this beautiful glass plant that is about ready to see its last days. But they are taking their time because this is the final building. That's right, we have witnessed them take down hundreds and hundreds of square footage, and this is what's left. The last and grand finale. The main plant. This plant has been here since the 30s, 1930, can you believe it? And here it is today. You can see the cutoff line. Everything is gone, except for the debris. How many men have worked here, and how many women have worked here? We will never know, because the records are gone. The memories are still here. But today, that old picker is just picking out piece by piece, bit by bit, of whatever valuable metals are left in this building. So, there is a pecking order of metals. Which ones are more valuable than the others? The guy on the backhoe knows the best. But there you go. You can see where they've been doing the dust control. But I'm telling you what, this building is not coming down fast enough for me. They don't really get to the big stuff until the very end, and that's what's happening here. Before they start eating that elephant, they need to clean this lot up a little more. So you see piles of bricks and piles of sticks and piles of metal I-beams. So this project is far from done. If you used to work here, you will see that old loading dock. That for some reason, they left that loading dock there and still have not chopped that down. So I think that's coming with the demolition of this foundation. As you can see, all this metal and debris is on a concrete foundation that will have to be removed. Now, is that a fire sprinkler main? It almost looked like a big fire sprinkler main, so I caught my eye, and I don't think it was, but to me everything looks like fire sprinkler pipe. But you can see that I think when my drone showed up, they did a little more dust control. Now, I want to take credit for that, but maybe they were already doing dust control. But those neighbors right over there, they've been complaining about the dust. So I have seen a lot more water on this job than when they first started. So good for them for keeping it all wet like that. That didn't go on for a while, so the dust control is back under control, hopefully. I don't know if you can really control big mounds of rock blowing in the wind, but they sure do try. You know, there's only so much dust control you can do. But like I always say, it's just about the looks. They're just trying to perform a look. But you can see there is no action on the main building today. It's just a lot of scrap metal. And I just saw a bird fly towards my drone, so I got up to a different elevation quick. So I don't know if you saw that bird, but they will take down a drone. Birds are mean and angry. I guess that's where they got the term angry birds. But there's the old rock crusher. You ever see a rock crusher? Well, you're looking at one right there. That thing makes big rocks into little rocks, just like the old chain gang back in the days. But now everything is reused. Every rock, every piece of metal, pretty much everything is reused. Now that could be a swimming pool someday. I don't know. But right now it's a hazard. You can see it's about 1 floor deep. Look at that small man in the bottom of that pit. And I never realized there was a pit in that glass plant. And I'm sure a lot of people didn't. But look at that. That looks like 1930s to me, doesn't it? That sure does look old. So what did they do in that glass plant? I don't know. But I did find it amazing to see it all opened up like that. So they do not have anybody really working on the building, tearing it down. Like I said, they're in this phase where they have to clear everything up before they move to the next phase, I guess you would call it, because they don't want a whole bunch of junk in the way of the new junk. And I'm sure there is some kind of record keeping, like how much square footage or how many pounds of metal did you get out of a square foot. I don't know, but there's that guy. He's down there talking on the phone going, how am I going to eat this elephant? Where do I even start? And you can see there's a lot of water down there in that pit too, so I'm sure it's all toxic. That's his car. He probably drove in and he's saying, boss, this is going to be a big project. And it is, isn't it? Look at that. That's how close I am to the airport, but far enough away to be legal. People always ask me, are you being legal? Of course I'm being legal. Everything's legal in Oakland, isn't it? There's the footprint of the old brick building. You probably saw that in one of my old videos. I thought they would probably save it, but I didn't get a chance to see that one come down. Like I said, you blink and everything is gone. So don't blink around here. If you blink, you'll miss a building coming down, but not that big one. I really want to see that big one come down. And for those down shots, well, those never get old, do they? I always forget to take the down shot, so there you go. I took one for you. So he was the only person, he or she, you got to say that nowadays, he or she was the only one working that day around this building. So there was not a lot of activity going on. Now I can't tell you if there was any activity inside, but on the outside there was not a lot going on. There's the old 24-hour fitness and the cleaned up homeless camp. They cleaned that thing up, didn't they? Wow. Well, the funny thing is, there was just a fire here across the street that I need to go do a little video on. So stay tuned for that. These houses were not in danger of that fire, but right across the street from the glass plant, they had a huge warehouse catch on fire. And they're saying that it's transients stealing, guess what? Copper. So the transients are stealing the valuable metals out of the warehouse across the street from the glass plant. So I bet you that these guys will probably, after they demo the glass plant, move right across the street and demo that building that caught on fire today. Just guessing. just guessing. Everything is just guessing. There's the old cleanup. It's that time of day where they bring out the old scraper. That's right, that backhoe right there, he just has an old scraper on it, and he goes out there and scrapes everything up, all the little pieces that have been knocked off around the piles. So each pile has its own valuable money in it, believe it or not. So if you're a scrap man, you could probably tell me how much each pile is worth. That's the one funny thing about these trades, is these guys know their metals and they know what it's worth. So if you're a scrap man, my hat goes off to you, because it is a saving the planet one piece of junk at a time. That's right. I watch a guy on YouTube called Scrap and Pallet Man, and he goes around and picks out what people throw away and takes it to the scrapyard, and he makes his living that way. He doesn't get rich, but he has something that he does every day, digging scrap out of other people's trash cans. Well, there's that old rock crusher. Everything has a job here. And boy, does that rock crusher have a job. Now over here, this man is basically taking all this metal and just chopping it up into smaller pieces. That's right. His job is one job only, and that is to cut long pieces of metal into short pieces of metal. So that's how they do it. You wonder, how did they get those long pieces of metal into short pieces of metal? Now, does that look like fire sprinkler pipe to you? I tried to get the old zoomer on. It sure does look like some kind of pipe, but I don't think it's fire sprinkler pipe, but it sure does look like it. Like I said, everything looks like fire sprinkler pipe to me. All that is right there is long pieces of metal, thick metal. And like I said, this old boy in this machinery, all he's doing is taking that metal and chopping it up. You can see a small pile right next to him of small pieces of metal he's already chopped up. So he cuts everything up into like little 3-foot sections or so. And that's how they sell it for more. It's kind of like when you buy your wood already split in cords. Yep, that's right. That's all he's doing. You see that big old arm? It just pinches whatever's in his way. Look at, he'll pinch that off. That's your job all day, to pinch and cut. So if you look around, I guess you don't really get discouraged on running out of work, because he's got a lot to do. Well, as I take this camera back, I just thought I would do one last little, I would call this a complete shot of all the acreage. So from one side to the other, there you go. So if you want to know how many acres are here, how does 22 sound? No, it's got to be more than that, but I don't know. I know it was built in the 30s, and does that look like more than 22 acres? I don't know, it seems like it. Why does that number come into my head? So what do they do with all this old concrete? And what do they do with all that old brick? And they cover it up so it doesn't blow away, but you know it does. And that's not just any ordinary brick. That's 1940s brick. So you think that would be valuable. Well, there's an old tank. They don't really know what to do with that tank yet. That tank is, they kind of killed everything around the tank, but that tank has been left there for some reason. And these guys are about ready to pack it up. In that time of day where they turn off the old Mister. So the Mister gets turned off, and how many gallons of water does the Mister blow a day? If you ask me, that's a lot of wasted water. You know, I conserve water in the shower, and now I'm not knowing if I'm doing the right thing. I guess every drop counts, but when I see people wasting water, boy, is that hard. You know, they say whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. That's right, we fought wars for water. And water is one of the most valuable things on the earth, and we seem to just waste it watering grasses we never even play in. That's another one, grass, that we don't play in. We don't get outside like we used to, and we don't play in the grass like we used to. But I tell you what we do is we waste. And we don't even recycle anymore. There's a big scam that I want to tell you about. The recycling companies that you throw your recycling bins and they come pick it up. Well, that recycling bin goes right into the landfill. There is no more secret. The secret is out. Your recycling bin goes right into the landfill. They might take out the bottles and they might take out the cans, but everything else, it goes to the landfill. So, it's always good to do good, but just remember there's bad people out there doing bad, taking advantage of you trying to do good. That's the way it works in this world. Well, next time you recycle something, just remember you might as well throw it in the trash. Next time you're in the shower and you want to take a little longer, just remember how much water we waste. Right here at this job and other job sites just like it. Fresh, clean water. Why can't they use dirty water? Maybe treated sewage water to do this kind of work. I will never know why the humans act the way they do. They act like they have so much resources, but we just let it go down the drain, so to speak. Well, before I end this video, it's been a little too long, but I thought I'd give you a good look at these smokestacks. These are the ones that I want to see come down. And it looks like they got some kind of... That music's a little loud, pardon me. Looks like they got some kind of bands around the smokestacks holding it together. And if you look real close, what you're about ready to do, I'm going to use my old zoomer camera. There's pigeons there. That's right, so I'm going to use my extra zoom lens right about now. Let's see how my extra zoom lens does. There's my extra zoom. Let's see how close I can get to a pigeon. And the wind was blowing pretty good up there, so you can almost see the wind on the pigeon's feathers. So they live down in that little tube, believe it or not. I seen one jump down in there. Pigeons in a tube. Who knew? Watch, he'll jump right down in there. There he goes. So there must be a little cutout or something they live in there down there. I don't think he falls all the way down. But there you go, one last little look. at the Oakland Glass Plant Smokestacks. Look how beautiful and detailed they are. You don't get that close to a smokestack. Well, today you do. But that's those bands that I was talking about. You can see those concrete bands like it's holding it together. Or maybe they never took them off. I don't know what those bands are for. If you know what those bands are for around the smokestack, well, let me know. And this smokestack still has that old bag hanging off of it. I don't know why this one is different. Okay, well, there you go. The last look at the smokestacks, the last look at the glass plant, and this is the last look at this yard. So next time you see this, it'll all be gone. They clean this stuff up quick. Like I said, we're waiting for that thing to get cleaned out. Here's a good example of what was in that pit. I think this was a toxic catch basin. You see how that tube, I think that tube probably went right into the estuary there. So this might have been like their toxic water runoff or something, where they treated the water before it ran out to the bay. I don't know, just guessing. Well, there's that old boy working on the picker, picking all day. One last little look at what is left of this main building. And when will they start it? I don't know. Stay tuned. I'll have to get back here. I'd like to get lower, but I keep losing connection to my drone. So maybe next time I'll find another place to fly and try to get some good low shots down in there, if there's anything left. But everything's just hanging and dangling, if that makes any sense. Well, I've talked enough, and I've always would like to thank you for coming along with me. I guess we'll call this the phase 6, the final phase of this Oakland Glass Plant adventure. There is no more buildings. That is the last building, and I guess the last thing that'll come down will be these beautiful smokestacks. So that's what we're gonna watch come down someday, so stay tuned. That'll be almost worth taking a day off of work for if it gets announced on the news. Okay, well, you know the drill. I've said enough, and I can't really thank you enough. If you've watched this video and watched me ramble this long, well, you might see this video turn into a music video, because just like that glass plant, I recycle. And I will recycle this video and make music videos out of a talking video. So if you watch music videos and talking videos, well, I can't thank you enough. And I've already said that enough. All right, everybody. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.